The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Whatcom 7 Washington, on your new Pierce Fire apparatus, job number 34809. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting just under the front bumper, you'll find 2 open-ended chrome tow hooks on the passenger and driver's side frame rail. You'll also find perimeter lighting located on the passenger and driver's side. Moving up onto the face of the bumper, you'll find your air horn located on the passenger side and also an electronic siren PA speaker. Let's move from this location to the driver's side of the bumper, where you'll find first at the bottom section your air horn on the bumper face. Moving up from that location, your mechanical siren and also a front swivel discharge. Located directly in the center of the bumper extension, you'll find a tubbed storage location for your front bumper load. There is dry deck material in the very bottom section and also Velcro tabs to hold the hose in place. As we move to the side of the bumper extension, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. Let's move up to the grille, where you'll find 2 forward-facing emergency warning lights. As we move to the outer edges, your headlight structure housing a low and high beam headlight. As we move to the upper portion, you'll find a turn indicator and marker light. Let's move down to the front axle, where you'll find Goodyear tires and Alcoa wheels. Moving directly above this location, you'll find the fender. On top of that, you'll find a marker turn indicator light. Slightly above that, you'll find the air inlet for your engine. Let's move to the back of the fender area, where you'll find the release mechanism on the passenger and driver side. This is your ability to gain access into the engine compartment. As we move to the driver's space, you'll find the fuel tank and DEF tank. Located in the very front is the blue cap, which is your DEF tank. As we move directly over that area, you'll find the shoreline inlet and then also an air inlet. Moving just to the right at the very end of the fuel tank is where you'll find the silver ultra low sulfur diesel fill location. Here's some close-ups of the items we talked about. This is a 20 amp shoreline inlet and then also an air inlet. Let's move up now onto the cab area, where you'll find your mirrors housing a flat mirror and a convex mirror. And now we'll move to the door area, where you'll find your door latch, which you do have a keyed access point, and then also a grab handle at points of entry for firefighters for gaining access in and out of the cab. Let's go ahead and take a look inside the cab with the door in the open position. You'll find on the left door panel all of our safety and warning information above and below. As we move directly inside the cab on the floorboard area, you'll find your master battery switch. It is the red quarter turn. You'll also find this yellow placard, manufactured from Pierce for your department. To the right, you'll find your battery maintenance charger indicator. Let's go ahead and revisit the placard, first starting with the date of manufacture, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, the VIN number, 5-digit job number. It also houses all the information regarding your fluid capacities, fluid types for your vehicle. From this location, let's go ahead and move to the very rear section. Just below the seat is where you'll find your auto charge. When plugged into shore power, this will become active. As we move to the dash area, on the left side of the dash, you'll find your headlight control, dim switch, and then also mirror heat. Let's go ahead and move to the steering column now, where you'll find on the steering wheel, left-hand side, you'll find all of our setting switches for your cruise control. As we move to the gauges on the dash, starting on the left-hand side, you'll find your tachometer. Within that same bezel, you'll find a oil pressure gauge. Let's move just to the right of the column, where you'll find your speedometer. Also located within the same bezel, you'll find your DEF level indicator. As we move up to the very top section, we have some gauges across the very top. We'll start first on the upper left-hand corner with your water temperature. There are also two, number 1 and number 2. These are your air tanks, primary and secondary, and then to the right, your fuel status. As we move down, you'll find diagnostic engine information will display inside the screen area and below the screen area. Let's move just to the right. To scroll through the various menu functions, you'll use this device. There is a movement left to right, up and down, and also OK or return. Moving first down to the bottom, you'll find your ignition switch. And then moving further to the right, you'll find 12-volt access via barrel style and USB plug-in. Moving to the right, you'll find the PDL lock, off-road, trans mode, parked regen, and inhibit regen. Just down from that location, you'll find your 4-way flashers, and then also all of your climate control, heat, air conditioning, and defrost. As we move to the upper right-hand corner, you'll find the filter minder. This is for your air filter on your engine. Let's move downward on the dash now. We'll identify a few items within this area. First, starting with the yellow diamond, pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. Moving to the right, you'll find an additional outlets for 12-volt access via barrel style and USB. Moving down to the dash area, you'll find also all of our switch components. Starting in the very upper portion, you'll find all of our emergency warning lights. As we move down, you'll find engine information and tank information. As you move further down, you'll find all of our scene lights. Located directly in the center, you'll find the Pierce seatbelt information. Red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted. Green indicating that they are belted and in the seat. To the right, you'll find your pump shift. There are instructions from road to pump and from pump to road. As we move further down in the console area, you'll find your Firecom wireless base station module. Let's go ahead and look overhead in the upper portion over the officer and driver seat. Directly in the center, you'll find your traffic advisor. You'll also find a red light indicating do not move your apparatus. You may have a compartment door open or ajar. As we move through the rest of the functions, you'll find on the rear wall, you'll find your headset intercom system plug-in. This is the charging system for your wireless headset. As we move exterior, we'll start now with the pump panel, starting down at the very bottom section of the pump panel. Just under the pump panel, you'll find LED strip lights for your perimeter lighting. As we move upward, you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's move just to the right of this location where you'll find your driver's side auxiliary inlet. This is a 2.5-inch female ball valve. As we move to the right, you'll find the main pump drain. And then as you move further down from that location, you'll find your manual pump shift. We do have a caution information placard located in this area also. Let's move up to the upper left where you'll find the hail placard indicating the type of pump that you have. As we move upward from this location, you'll find a warning label, pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. To the right, you'll find the number 1 driver's side discharge, which is a 2.5-inch male outlet. Moving to the right, you'll find the large diameter passenger side discharge. It is green in color. Just down from that, you'll find the minimum operation maintenance schedule for test pressures for 150, 200, and 250 psi. Just to the right, you'll find the engine cooler. This is a twist, not a pull. As we move downward, you'll also find your tank to pump, and then further to the right, you'll find your fire pump primer. There are instructions here for at least best practices, 1,000 RPMs when engaging the fire pump primer. You'll also find this warning labeled that only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment and only after they received proper training. You'll also find front discharge, driver's side 1, and passenger side 2 discharges. You'll also find this black speaker. The outer edge of the bezel does allow you to dampen the sound of the speaker. Moving down, recirculating line, twist, not a pull, and then also our tank fill and recirculating line. All the way to the right in the blue module, you'll find your water level indicator. Let's move upward from this location into the gray module, where you'll find your master intake gauge on the left-hand side, and then just to the right, you'll find the master discharge gauge. Located in the center, you'll find the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They are currently plugged, and those are for testing purposes. Let's go ahead and move just to the right where you'll find your intake relief valve. There are instructions for operation directly on the placard. As we move to the right, you'll find your throttle pressure governor. And then moving further to the right, you'll find panel lights, OK to pump indicator, and then all of our information here regarding driver's side and passenger side scene lights. Let's go ahead and move directly above the area where you'll find first a light shield and then also at the very top section a grab handle. As we move to the side vertical sheet, you'll find fold down steps for gaining access to go aloft to the top section. Let's go ahead and take a look at the body section. First, starting in the upper left hand corner, you'll find a water tank level indicator. You'll also find side facing scene lights. As we move down, directly in front of and rear of the axle, you'll find side-facing emergency warning lights. The front axle also has a marker turn indicator light. Directly in the center, you'll find a storage location for Scba bottle storage, and then also two folding wheel chocks, one in the front axle area, one to the rear of the axle. As we move to the very rear section, you'll find your side-facing driver's side dump valve location. Some close-ups of the items we just talked about. Folding wheel chocks. Let's move into the compartment directly over this where you'll find your auto charge system. When plugged into shore power, this will become active. As we move down to the lower right compartment, you'll find a pull-out tray and tool board. The release mechanism is on the right. Let's go ahead and take a look at some other items that we just talked about. First on the body with the marker light and emergency warning light. Moving between the two axles is where you'll find your Scba bottle storage. A lift and turn latch will gain you access into this space. Let's move up from this location. There are two compartment doors, front of the axle and rear of the axle. These are drop-down style. You'll also find tandem axle housing Alcoa wheels and Goodyear tires. Let's go ahead and move to the lower section of the rear axle where you'll find a folding wheel chock storage. There are two located, one on the rear of the axle and one in front of the axle. General view here of the side of the apparatus. We'll move to the rear section of the apparatus next. Starting in the lower left portion of this image, you'll find a emergency warning light rear facing. As we move down, a common bezel housing the brake, turn, and reverse light. You'll also find some switches here, rear dump, scene lights, and also hose bed lights. As we move up from this location, we do have some warning information. First, you should not ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. If you are climbing on the vehicle, you should always face the vehicle. And then also a warning regarding entanglement. Because of those hoses coming from aloft, there is the possibility of entanglement. As we move up, you'll find a rear-facing scene light. At the very top section, a rear-facing emergency warning light. And then also you'll find to the right your ladder for gaining access to the top of the vehicle. As we move underneath, you'll find dual tandem axles. You'll also find as we move up, these two attachment points. Remember, direct pull on these for access. And then as we move to the very top section, you'll find the center-mounted rear dump. Moving just to the right, you'll find a direct tank fill. Moving slightly above this location, you'll find a water level tank indicator. And then at the very top section, you'll find your traffic advisor. Let's go ahead and move to the right in the image. This is going to be the passenger side. As we move to the bottom, you'll find hose bed lights and also your dump valve. Moving up to the very top, you'll find the top fill location for your water tank on the left, also a hose bed divider in the very center. General view here of the rear and side of the apparatus on the passenger side. Let's identify a few items here. First, at the very top on the passenger and driver's side, you also have a 360-degree emergency warning light and then also side-facing scene lights. Same configuration as you do on the driver's side as you will on the passenger side, including the side-facing dump. Lift and turn latch will gain you access into the Scba storage location. As we move forward to this location, you'll find additional storage. There are two just above the rear axles. Just in front of the axle, you'll find an emergency warning light and also a side-facing marker light. Let's move inside the double door compartment here. D handle gains us access. As we're inside, you'll find a pull-out tray with tool board. Release mechanism is on the right-hand side. The shelf will lock into position, requiring you to push the release to regain it back into its normal position. We'd like to point out extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures. Be cautious where you park your vehicle, especially during regen operations. Let's move upward, where you'll also find a side-facing scene light, and then just forward of that location, you'll find a water tank level indicator, also grab handles on the vertical side sheets for gaining access to the dunnage area. Let's go ahead and move to the pump area. At the very top section, you'll find a grab handle, light shield just down from that location. Let's move downward from this location to the pump panel itself, and we'll identify a few items within this area. First, starting just underneath this side panel is where you're going to find your relief valve for your internal pump. As we move upward, you'll find side-facing or downward-facing LED strip lights. These are your perimeter lighting. Moving up from this location, you'll find large diameter and also passenger side discharge drains, color-coded and labeled. As we move to the left in the image, you'll find your passenger side auxiliary inlet. It is a ball valve 2.5. You'll also find the large diameter passenger side controlled from the driver's side pump panel. You'll also find a warning label regarding caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. And then also the number 2 passenger side discharge, which is a 2.5-inch discharge. As we move down, the Pierce logo American flag eagle, large diameter pump intake. As we move to the very upper portion of the panel, you'll find a lift and turn latch will gain you access behind the pump panel for maintenance. Inside this area, you'll find in the upper left-hand corner a switch to engage the light for the pump area. As we move now to the passenger side of the vehicle, same configuration and layout. This is the step area. There are no fuel tanks on this side. As we move inside the cab on the officer's area, you'll find affixed to the door panel all of our safety and warning information. Moving to the outer edge mirror, you'll find the flat mirror in the upper portion, and then also a convex mirror at the very bottom. You'll also find on the fender itself a marker turn indicator light, and also air inlet. Moving down to the front axle, once again, Goodyear tires, Alcoa wheels. As we move to the very front section, you'll find your headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights, turn indicator, and marker light. As we move to the side bumper extension, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. Moving to the roof of the vehicle, you'll find your emergency warning light located on the very top. You'll also find inside the emergency warning light your Opticom forward-facing. Directly in front of that location on the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 clearance lights, and slightly above that, you'll find a forward-facing floodlight. Congratulations, Whatcom 7 Washington, on your new Pierce Fire apparatus, job number 34809. If you have any questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.